What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to Johnny K Picks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with any bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC Charlotte Rozenstruik versus Almeida. As always, first things first, go ahead and hit that like button right now and get that out of the way. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you just haven't yet. I do picks and predictions videos each and every week for every UFC card and live streams any other good fun videos I do. So definitely worth the follow here. And while you're doing that, may as well turn on the notifications so you do get notified when I do post those new videos and fun stuff and live streams. So let's go to UFC 288. It was a fun filled adventure, if you want to say. Lots of crazy stuff happened. First things first, let's get to my picks. I went 9-3 on my picks, and I had 6 total bets. I won 3 out of the 6, but I ended up losing minus 1.45 units. So it's not the end of the world. Um, but a lot of bets were messed up originally. I had Zalgis as an underdog. I had Evoluev parlayed before the Bryce Mitch or before Bryce Mitchell got canceled. And I had one other one I can't remember off the top of my head. Santos, that's what it was. The Santos fight, I had him in a parlay as well, and that got canceled. So a lot of bets and parlays were kind of ruined. Not to say that that was why I lost, but it was just a weird betting card for me. But let's quickly go over all these fun fights. The first one we got is going to be Claudio Ribeiro versus Joseph Holmes. Good fight for Claudio. He outlasted Holmes. Holmes just looked gassed after like 3 or 4 minutes in the first round. He tried to wrestle, and Claudio was able to pretty much stay against the cage and not get taken down. And if he did get taken down, I can't remember if he did or not, but if he did, he got right back up. No real threat from Joseph, and Claudio eventually got that ground and pound knockout. So good win from him. Just a little bit worried about Claudio's cardio in the future, so we'll see what happens. So, Ikram versus Phil Haas, crazy knockout, man, crazy knockout. I guess we know that Phil Hawes's chin is pretty much gone, unfortunately. He's such a good fighter too, but once he gets hit once pretty good, it's like he just swimming in the ocean. He's so you could tell he's not there. So unfortunately, it sucks for Hawes, but good win from Ikram. Next one we got is Parker Porter versus Braxton Smith. Braxton Smith did not do anything that a lot of people thought he was going to do. He had about 2 rounds of cardio, gassed himself out. Parker Porter was good enough to outlast that onslaught, and he got the knockout or himself ground and pound. So good win from him. 2 minutes into the fight. So there you go. Next one, Verna versus Marina Rodriguez. Very bad bet from me. I thought Marina would look a lot better. She did not look good at all. Verna looked really good with her takedowns and control time on the mat. And yeah, Marina couldn't get nothing going. So good win from Verna. I know that going forward, maybe Rodriguez she's getting up there. She's 36 years old now, so maybe it's time. Chaos Williams versus Bedoya. Very interesting decision. Honestly, first round and second round, very close. Third round, Bedoya all day. But man, I don't know if Chaos won. I'll be honest, I thought Bedoya got the second round just barely, and Chaos won the first round just barely. So I mean, it's a split. I'm not saying it's a robbery because rounds 1 and 2 could have went either way, but just my scorecard, I thought Bedoya got round 2 just ever so slightly, but that fight shouldn't have been as close as it was. Chaos, I mean, you saw the holes in his game. If he doesn't get that early knockout, he leaves himself open for a lot of shots. So starts to slow down. He's very susceptible to leg kicks, and if he gets a lot of leg kicks, then his power might be not as good as it is early on. Kennedy versus Devin Clark. Kennedy did what I thought he was going to do. Maybe not the submission, but the finish definitely. I thought it was going to be a knockout instead in the second round. He almost got finished in the first round, but he usually does that. Like he's a slow starter. He makes his opponent like just empty the gas tank, and that's what Devin Clark did to try to get the finish. And then he reversed it, and then he almost emptied the gas tank and almost got the finish at the end of the round. So crazy fight. I like Kennedy as a fighter. I'm not saying he's going to be a champion or anything, but very solid fighter, very hard guy to fight. Matt Frivola versus Drew Dober. Again, another bad bet. Did I think it was a little early stoppage? Maybe, but Frivola did good. He was wi Dober was stalking him down. Frivola just landed the right shot at the right time and wrecked Dober, and he hurt him a couple times too. So good win from Frivola. I'm not taking anything away from him, but I thought Dober was going to be able to handle that a little bit better than what he did. And good, see what happens for both guys. Jordan versus Gracie. This was just an awful, awful, awful fight. Gracie should not be in the UFC. I don't even know why he's there. And Jourdain did exactly what he needed to do. Showed really good fight IQ, and a lot of people were saying that he didn't have fight IQ or he made very bad decisions, if you want to say, which he usually does, but not this fight. He did very good, and yeah, good win from him. Evloev versus Lopez, interesting fight again. I'm not as high on Mavsbar as a lot of people are, and this is the reason why. Decision, 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 no finishing ability. He can't finish anyone in the UFC. And I'm not saying this guy's a bum, but this guy took this fight on 3 days short notice. He almost finished Evloev and was a lot closer than this fight should have been. And I know maybe one or two judges gave Mobsbar a 30-27, and I don't know about that. So very sketchy. I mean, I'm waiting for the Mobsbar versus Ilya fight, and man, I was originally on Ilya just ever so slightly, but now I think Ilya is gonna destroy this guy, so that's just me, hot take there. Yan Xiaonan versus Jessica Andrade. Crazy knockout here. Never thought in a million years that Yan would knock out Andrade. Was it kind of a quick stoppage? Maybe, but we knew where that was gonna go. Honestly, like she was out when she hit the floor, and she was getting some good hammer fist, and I think the ref just stopped it before Jan landed about two or three more hammer fists. But Jessica did her best Juliana Pena impression, just going in crazy doing this, and she got countered. So Jan with a good counter there and good win from her. Never expected it, like I said, but I picked her to win. Didn't think she would knock her out like that though. Co-main event: Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. I mean, this was an unfortunate thing because Gilbert Burns definitely hurt his shoulder in the first round or early second. It might have been that takedown where he landed awkwardly on that shoulder, and then you knew he had nothing. He couldn't use his left hand. I picked Burns. I was high on him to win, but after I saw that, I knew it was game over, and Bilal probably would have took this one, and he did. And good win from him. I'm not taking anything away. I mean, it's kind of one of those things with Aljo, it will get to him, but, like, he won against TJ Dillashaw on his shoulder, and, TJ's shoulder gave out, so, I mean, what can you do? It's a fight. He got injured in a fight, and I'm not gonna try to take anything away, but it's just unfortunate. I wanted to see this fight. I thought it was gonna play out a lot differently, but that sucks, so good win from Bilal. He'll get a title shot next, so, yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just not gonna bet Bilal fights because or just bet on him because he's just been rocking no matter what. Aljo versus Henry Cejudo, very, very close fight. Personally, I thought Aljo won 48-47, very close though. I saw a couple judges give Sterling the 5th round. That I do not agree with. I thought Henry Cejudo won the 5th round, but there was like 3 other rounds that were very close. Like you could have gave Sterling 1 round for sure, and then Cejudo 1 round for sure, which is the 5th, and then the other 3 rounds were up in the air. So I don't blame anybody for thinking Cejudo won. I mean, it wouldn't have shocked me, but I just thought Aljo won just barely. Just did enough with on the feet. I think he did a little bit more, landed the better strikes, if you want to say. And when the grappling came, I think he did well in the grappling. I thought he was gonna do a little bit worse, but he did good. So overall, like I said, very good card overall. A lot of finishes, a lot of crazy things happened and stuff. And um, we'll get to my bets here. Like I said, if you can see that, I'll move up a little bit here. Hold on one second. So right here, minus 1.45 units right there. So I'll go over these real quick. Like I said, Gilbert Burns, I was pretty heavy on him, lost that one. Drew Dober, I had him in a parlay with Evloev with the Bryce Mitchell, and then that got canceled. So it was just a single bet. So I was heavy on that. I would have lost it. Anyways, Kennedy fight, I had him in a parlay with Santos. It was just one half a unit win there. Um, I was pretty high on Marina Rodriguez, lost that one, and then I won the other two. So won three, lost three, ended up losing minus 1.5 units. Kind of lost the bigger bets. So that's what happens. So it happens to everybody. So time to move on to the next one. Try to hopefully get that back and more. UFC Charlotte. Let's go down here and see anything. Not a lot of crazy cancellations or anything. So Jake Matthews was supposed to fight Gabe Green. Other than that, we're all good. So let's jump into the first one here. Jessica Rose Clark versus Tanara Lisboa. Clark is 11 and 8, 35 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. And Lisboa is 5 and 2, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. So Clark is a solid striker, good boxing, good wrestling and takedowns as well. Not the greatest grappler, and her sub defense is not good at all. So when she gets on her back and gets taken down, she is like a fish out of water, man. So other than that, I mean, she's a solid fighter, but that's her biggest weakness I can see. And I mean, she kind of slows down as the fight goes on, but nothing crazy. Lisboa, though, she's making her UFC debut, and I believe she's the only person making the UFC debut this card. Solid striker with okay power in her hands. She's not the most technical. She can be a little wild at times on the feet, but nothing crazy like that. Pretty good takedown defense and pretty good grappling as well. Good submissions. She has a couple of submission wins on her in her belt on her resume. So this is a very interesting matchup to say the least, to start the night off. On paper, though, if you're looking at it on paper, you would think Jessica Rose Clark is going to win this one because maybe she's a little bit more well-rounded. She's got the wrestling in her back pocket. Maybe her striking is a little bit more crisp, if you want to say. But I don't trust her. I can't trust her one bit. She in a lot of her fights recently, Stoliarenko and Stephanie Ager. She's winning until she's not. She makes really bad decisions, and she either gets taken down, especially in those two fights, and she got armbarred. So to me, Lisboa is pretty good everywhere. She's well rounded. She's good. She can hang on the feet, I believe, and she can. And I think she may be the better grappler. And if Jessica Rose Clark tries to go for some takedowns, I don't think that's going to be a good idea for her. She needs to keep this fight on the feet, but I'm gonna roll the dice here. Women's MMA has been crazy lately, and you would think a certain fighter should win, and it goes the other way. So I'm gonna go with Lisboa to win this one. I'm gonna say she does get that submission. I think this fight gets the mat somehow, and I think Jessica Rose Clark just makes a mistake like she's been doing lately, and she gets subbed maybe by armbar, maybe by an arm triangle, something along those lines. So give me Lisboa by submission. I'll say second round. Um, Betting wise, I think I would just stay away from this fight unless you wanna just do like it's dog or pass for me. So if you wanna bet Lisboa. I wouldn't even touch the over and unders with this one because I don't know. I could see a submission from Lisboa or I can see a decision win from Rose Clark. It's gonna be one or the other, I can think. So I would stay away from this one. Dog or pass. Next one's gonna be Gabe Green versus Brian Battle. Gabe Green is 11 and 4, 30 years old, 5'11" with a 73-inch reach. And Brian Battle, 8 and 2, 28 years old, 6'1", 77-inch reach. So he's gonna be the little bit bigger fighter in this matchup. Green is a pretty well-rounded guy. He's got solid striking and power in his hands. He can mix in some takedowns and use his wrestling if he wants to or if he's in trouble, but he usually kind of just wants to push forward, back you up against the cage, and kind of tee off a little bit. He likes to stay in his opponent's face at all times as much as he can. He's got good cardio. He's very durable, but he can be hittable at times if he gets too aggressive. Brian Battle, he's good everywhere as well. Good striking, good grappling, sneaky submissions. His takedowns not the greatest though. His wrestling, if you want to say, and his takedown defense is not good at all. But I know in his last fight he got taken down at will against Renat, and he's a very, very, very good wrestler. So I'm not trying to say he with that fight though because Renat's very good, but I mean, I don't either or. I don't think his takedown defense is that good anyways, and he can be hittable too. Um, and if you hit him pretty good, he goes down sometimes, but he's durable. He gets back up. He recovers pretty good, and he is taking this fight, like I said, on short notice because it was supposed to be Jake Matthews and Gabe Green, so not super short notice, but fair, kind of a somewhat short notice. But another fun fight here. A lot of guys do the same thing a little bit, and there's a couple minor differences from both guys, but I'm gonna go with Gabe Green here. I think with him, he's the one that pushes forward more times than not, and I think he's gonna keep Brian Battle on his back foot, push him up against the cage. He may go for some takedowns here and there because Renat did show basically the UFC fighters 3 months ago that he can get taken down pretty much at will if you know how to do it, and I think he does, he just doesn't use it that much. On the feet, though, I think it's very close. Both guys I said are kinda hittable at times, but I would give the power advantage to Gabe Green, and, but Brian Battle, if he takes the back, that's something to look out for. I think he's the better grappler. He's the, more he's the guy that's probably gonna get a submission win if anybody, so very close fight, though, but give me Gabe Green to win, and I say by decision. Both guys, like I said, are pretty tough and durable, and, so I'm gonna go Gabe Green by decision. Bets, I would if you like Brian Battle as a dog, not a bad bet, but this is a close to a pick 'em right now, so, either one, and, I like the over here. Over 2.5, I think it'll be good. Over 1.5 for a super safe parlay for sure, or fight to start round 3. I think that's a good bet as well. Other than that, about all I would play. Next one we got is Ji Young Kim versus Mandy Bohm. Kim is 9'6" and 2, 33 years old, 5'7", 72-inch reach, and Bohm is 7 and 2, 33 years old, 5'7", 71-inch reach. So Kim is a solid striker, very good boxing, very quick hands, good volume. She has good cardio. She always likes to push forward. Not much of a grappler or wrestler. She's going to keep this fight on the feet. And she's tough and durable. Not really the biggest KO power, but she can get some KOs. Bohm, okay striker. She does have some grappling she can use. She hasn't really used it in the UFC. She's pretty much a one-round fighter. That's her best round, and then if she doesn't do anything in that round, she just slows down. It just feels like she just wants to get out of there. Very hittable sometimes, but she's durable. She's not gonna quit, but she's just very, very low volume after the first round. So, for me, this one's I hate to say it, but I think this is an easy pick, and I'm gonna go with Kim here. I'm not impressed with Mandy Bohm at all. I know Kim has been on the wrong side of a couple of these split decisions. This wasn't a split decision, but it should have been because I thought Kim won that fight, and, she's fought the better competition. I mean, Bohm is losing against Victoria Leonardo and Ariana Lipski, so give me Kim here. I'm gonna say she wins this one by decision, pretty clear decision. Even if she loses round 1, if Kim loses round 1, I think she'll win rounds 2 and 3 very easily. Bets, I mean, you can do Kim by decision. You can do the over. I think the over is a very safe parlay in this bet or on this card. Other than that, that's about it. Kim decision, she's not gonna get a knockout, and over 2.5 for sure. Next one, Natan Levy versus Pete Rodriguez. Levy is 8 and 1, 31 years old, 5'9", 72-inch reach, and Rodriguez is 5 and 1, 26 years old, 5'9", 73-inch reach. So this fight was supposed to happen, I believe it was a month or so ago, but Levy is a solid grappler with good takedowns, good submissions. On the feet, his striking is all right, but it's not the greatest either. He can be hittable as the fight goes on, and he does start to slow down too after like a round and a half and 2 rounds. But he's pretty well-rounded guy. Rodriguez, though, is very solid boxer with good power. He likes to push forward. He likes to get in the brawl a little bit, if you want to say. He's pretty durable. He's willing to take a punch to give one. I'm very interested to see what his takedown defense is going to look like and how his cardio is going to hold up if this fight does get out of the first round. And like I said, this fight was supposed to happen I don't know if it was a month ago, maybe actually like earlier than that. Let me look. So it was supposed to be okay, it's like 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. So Pete Rodriguez was the fighter that actually backed out of that fight, and it was due to unknown reasons, if you want to say. Maybe it was a bad weight cut. This is going to be his first fight at lightweight, I believe, because I do think he was at welterweight the last couple. I know the Jack Della Maddalena fight was a welterweight, and I think that one was as well. So this will maybe he just couldn't get down to 155, and he said, "I can't do it," but who knows? Um, I'm gonna go with Levy again. I picked him in the first time. I think I'm gonna pick him again. I think this is a first round or bust fight for Rodriguez. I don't. Not sure what he's gonna look like after the first round, and I've seen Levy outside the first round a couple times in the UFC against Valdez, who's very dangerous early, and, against Mike Breeden. So this is a good test because I think Rodriguez is gonna be dangerous early like, Valdez is, and if he can survive, which Levy did, I think that Levy's gonna win. He's gonna either win by, like, a submission or a decision. I don't know about a knockout because Pete's pretty tough, but I do think he'll go for some, I do think Levy will go for some takedowns and use his wrestling and grappling in this fight. But Rodriguez has a puncher's chance in the first round. I'll tell you that. So, but with my pick, I'm going to say Levy gets it done by submission late in the second round after Rodriguez is kind of gassing and from all the grappling he's going to have to do and wrestling and stuff like that. Bets you could probably put Levy money line. I don't like it, or I should say, I don't love it, but maybe the under here because Rodriguez is boom or bust, and I think if he doesn't get that first round knockout, I think Levy's gonna get it, so under 2.5 may be a good play here, or fight doesn't go the distance. Other than that, maybe stay away from everything else. Next one, Carlos Ulberg versus Eor Potieria. Ulberg, 7-1, 32 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. And Potieria is 19-3, 26 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. So Ulberg is a very, very good striker, very good kickboxer. He's got tons of power in his hands. He's got good kicks, keeps his range very well, shown better cardio in his last few fights. His first fight against Kennedy, he emptied the gas tank trying to get him out there 2 years ago, but he showed good cardio against Fabio. He should have finished him, but he didn't. But he looked good against Stefan, and he looked good against Nicolau. So he's pretty good. I like this guy. He's a good striker. And Pretoria, he's a solid striker himself. He's got okay power. He's not as technical. He's more kind of a wild, free swinger, if you want to say. Throws tons of volume in the first round. Can be hittable for sure. And with his aggressiveness. And if this fight does get out of the first round, he's definitely slows down. So I love Ulberg in this fight. I think he's a great parlay piece. He's one of my most confident picks on this card. I just think he's going to be the more technical striker by far. He keeps his range very well, like I said. So once Pretoria tries to rush in, I think Carlos can counter him with that left hook that he knocked out Nicolau and Tafan with. And, yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen in the first round or early second. So, with my pick, give me Ulberg to win by knockout. Bets, I think Ulberg money line is a great parlay piece. Ulberg knockout, good prop. Any unders, 1.5, 2.5 for a parlay piece. And even fight ends by knockout. So either guy just needs to get a knockout in this fight. I think that happens too. All those are great bets. This is a great card, or I'm sorry, great fight to bet on and put parlay pieces in, I think. So Ulberg, knockout. Next one's gonna be Cody Stamann versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. Stamann, 21, 5-1, 33 years old, 5'6", with a 64.5-inch reach. Andrade is 28 and 5, 37 years old, 5'7", with a 68.5-inch reach. Stamann's a very well-rounded fighter. He's got good wrestling, good takedowns. He's a very solid boxer with pretty, I would say, okay power. He's not really a knockout guy, but he can, if he lands a good counter, he can touch you up a little bit. Takedowns are very good. He likes to push forward and set a pace early on. Good cardio, but he can put himself in some bad grappling situations at times. He got submitted a couple times here against Said Nurmagomedov and I think one other time before. And De Andrade, he's well-rounded as well. He's got very good striking, good power in his hands. He's a little bit more wild than Cody. Cody's more technical boxer. Um, Andrade does have good grappling and submissions if this fight does get to the mat, but he wants to mainly keep this fight on the feet because he's more of like a brawler. He wants to go in there, take one to give one. He's durable, and he's got good cardio too. So this is another interesting fight, very closely lined. And I think this is like one of those low key fights. It's going to be a fun one to watch on this card. But I'm going to go with Cody Stamann here. I think the technical striking is going to play a big part in this one. And if he does get in trouble, or if Andrade gets a little too aggressive, he can use that wrestling and get the takedown and just get some control time there, get some ground and pound, stay safe, not get submitted. And but Andrade has a puncher's chance. He's very wild. He can once he lands, he can knock out Cody, I think. So, but I like Cody Stamann. He's durable, like I said, and I think he can dictate this fight wherever the fight wants to go. If he wants to keep it on the feet or if he wants to get this fight to the mat, I think he is the guy to do that. So I'm gonna say he wins by decision. I think the Andrade is pretty tough, and I don't think he's gonna be able to get him out of there. For my bets, though, any bets I'm looking at, I mean, I'll think about Cody Stamann money line because it's almost a pick 'em. I'll see where that line goes. But if you like the Andrade, I think plus money, it's never a bad idea. And the over. I like the over for sure, 2.5. But I do think Cody will win, and if he does win by decision, and then if you want to do that, if you want to do that prop too, Cody by decision prop, I think that's a pretty good bet too. Next one we got Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman. Williams is 8-1, 33 years old, 6'3 with a 79-inch reach, and Sherman 16 and 11, 33 years old, 6'4 with a 78-inch reach. So this fight was supposed to happen too a while ago. Let's see how far it is supposed to. We got here. That was early March, so about a month ago, this fight was supposed to happen, and I do believe Sherman was the one to back out of that. I think it was either the night before or the day of. I can't remember. Maybe not the day of, but maybe the night before. Anyways, let's jump into this. Williams is an okay striker on the feet. More so lately, he's been showing his wrestling. He's got good takedowns, good cardio for his wrestling. Um, let's see. He can slow down a little bit if he gets a little too crazy early on, but I mean, that's a heavyweight for you. I mean, they start to slow down after the first round anyway, so it's not much difference. He's not the greatest finisher. He gets a lot of control time and um his opponents sometimes get back up, but then he puts him right back down. And yeah, Sherman, he's a good boxer. He's got okay power. He's very, very, very hittable on the feet with that big head of his. He doesn't move his head at all. He doesn't have good takedown defense, and he has no idea what to do on the mat when he's taken down. So for me, this is an easy breakdown. If Williams can get those takedowns and work his wrestling, I think he's going to win this fight, whether by decision or by a finish later in the fight. If not, it's going to be a closer fight. And maybe you can give a slight edge to Sherman with the striking. He's a little bit more technical with his boxing, but he's super hittable. So I think that cancels out the technical advantage that he might have against Carl Williams here. So like I said, this fight was supposed to happen about a month ago, and I think that's going to put because I think Carl Williams was taking that fight on short notice back then, so now it's not short notice. So the pick's going to be Williams here. I can't back Chase Sherman with a grappler or wrestler because whenever he fights someone like that, he gets taken down, and it's just not a good look. So give me Williams, and I do think he's going to get like a second round ground and pound finish when he mounts Sherman because Sherman does not know what to do when he's on his back. So I think eventually ground and pound finish will happen for Carl Williams. Even though, like I said, he's not a finisher, but I think this is the way he's going to get it done by ground and pound. Bets. I think Williams is a solid parlay piece this week. Do I personally want to do it? No, I don't. But over unders, if it's set at 1.5 for some weird reason, I kind of like the over. If it's 1.5, if it's 2.5, that's where it's going to get a little bit dicey. So I'd probably stay away. Maybe even lean over 2.5 if you're feeling frisky, but yeah, maybe Williams money line, or if you think Sherman has a shot, but I don't. Last fight in the prelim is going to be Matt Brown versus Court McGee. Legend fight here. Let's see. Let's go down a bit. Matt Brown is 23 and 19, 42 years old now, 6 foot, 76-inch reach. And Court McGee, 21 and 11, 38 years old, 5'11 with a 75.5-inch reach. So Brown, he's a pretty well-rounded fighter. He likes to push forward. He can be hittable at times now. He's got good elbows as everybody knows. He's a solid striker, good jabs and he's got good grappling too, but lately he's been keeping this fight on the feet, good takedowns and wrestling, and he's durable. But he does slow down as the fight goes on. And Court McGee, he's pretty much the same kind of fighter, maybe more so a wrestler grappler instead of a striker. He does have pretty good striking though. Good takedowns. He's durable, except the last fight against Jeremiah Wells, because that was crazy. I was there and I remember it. He sent Court McGee to the Shadow Realm. His cardio is pretty good. He likes to wear down his opponents more so in the early rounds and work his grappling and wrestling. And I think that's what he needs to do here. So this is probably going to be, like I said, the people's main event for the week. I'm ever so slightly leaning Court McGee here. I just think his path to victory is a little bit easier to win. I think he can get those takedowns on Matt Brown, especially early on, work his grappling, tire out Matt Brown. Like I said, Matt Brown's 42 years old. He's been in a ton of wars. Not to say that Court McGee hasn't, but I think there's more damage done on Matt Brown than Court McGee, even the last fight. Like I said, Court McGee was sent to the Shadow Realm. So, like I said, give me Court McGee. I think he's gonna win this one by decision, work his wrestling and grappling, especially early on, and maybe a late third round finish when Matt Brown kind of tires out a little bit. And who knows? Like this could be their one of these guys' last fight. They're getting up there in age. They've been in tons of wars, and maybe this might be a retirement fight for one of these guys. So that's maybe McGee by decision, just to get the plus money. I don't think he gets Matt Brown out of there unless it's like a third round. If you like Matt Brown, he's the dog. It's not a bad idea. I think this is a very close fight either way. The over, I do like the over too. I think both these guys are durable enough to survive each other. No one's super explosive anymore. No one has like the greatest submissions unless they just make a mistake. But both guys are pretty technically sound. So McGee by decision, very close fight. Main card, we got Tim Means versus Alex Morono. Means is 32, 14, and 1. 39 years old now, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. And Morono is 22 and 8, 32 years old, 5'11", 72-inch reach. So Means is a well-rounded guy. He's got okay striking, good wrestling, good grappling, good submissions. Um, Lately, he has not been looking that great. And I don't know if it's because maybe, he's getting up there in age. He's 39 years old. He lost to Max Griffin by a split decision. The Kevin Holland fight, I was there live. I think that was the same fight. Yeah, the same thing with Court McGee, same card. And he got submitted by Kevin Holland. He kind of got dropped or club and subbed. But yeah, I just think he's kind of slowing down a bit. Morono, though, he's well rounded too. He's more so a striker, though. He's got good cardio. He's durable. He's kind of got an awkward style of striking. It's not very technical, but he lands a lot. He throws a lot of volume. He stays in his opponent's face, and he likes to push forward. His last fight against Ponzi, he won the first 2 rounds for sure. He took that fight on short notice. And the third round, I think he just gassed it out a little bit, and then he got rocked by Ponzi and he got knocked out. But I'll give him a little bit of credit. It was on short notice, like I said. So in this fight, though, I like Morono. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a tough guy to win against. Any way you look at it, he's very good. He's actually a very solid grappler. You're like it's hard to get him out. He's just durable, except that last fight against Ponzi, but he took it on short notice. But um, I just think Means, like I said, he's slowing down a bit, and I this is another one where maybe if he loses, or this could be another retirement fight. And I don't like picking and or betting fighters that this may be their last fight. So these 39 years old, he's been in a lot of wars. You know what I mean? So give me Morono. I do think he wins by decision. Morono's not the greatest finisher of all time. I do think Means can survive, but man, I can't. The fights that I watch Means and he just slows down to the point where it's like, man, like you almost need to call it quits, man. So with my pick, give me Morono by decision. I do think he'll take off in the second round and then just kind of take over the fight. Bets Morono by money line. I think it's around minus 200. I think some people are on the dog now. It's not minus 240 anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that line. If it goes down a little bit lower, I don't mind throwing him in a parlay. Um, over over 2.5 is solid too. I don't think anyone's gonna finish anyone here in this fight. That's about it. Next one, Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. Dern is 12 and 3, 30 years old, 5'4", 63-inch reach, and Angela Hill is 15 and 12, 38 years old, 5'3", with a 64.5-inch reach. So Dern, as everybody knows, is probably one of the best grapplers, if not the best grappler in the UFC. Amazing submissions, but her problem, as everybody knows, is she can never get this fight to the mat. She's got her takedown ability is not good, to be nice about it. Her striking though is improving in each and every fight, though I will give her that. She can hold her own on the feet now, but man, where her biggest advantage in every fight is gonna be on the mat, if she, or any kind of grappling situation, but she just can never get it there, and it's so frustrating to watch. Angela Hill, though, very good striker. She's got high volume, good defensive grappling. Her takedown defense isn't that bad, actually. It's about 70, upper 70s%. She's durable, good cardio, and this is another classic grappler versus striker matchup here. But it's a tough pick because you everyone's gonna be on Dern, and I know it. But Angela Hill has a legit shot to win this fight if she stuffs the takedowns, and if she was able to stuff some of these takedowns, against I'll bring it up. Loopy did not attempt any takedowns in that fight. So I wonder just I really wish Loopy would have, 'cause I wanted to see her takedown defense, and she looked very good against Emily Ducote. But Verna Jandaroba, she wasn't able to stuff those takedowns. And very some of these split decisions that she has, she might have won. But there I'm torn on this one because it's either gonna be a Mackenzie Dern submission or it's gonna be an Angela Hill decision. Um, Mackenzie Dern against strikers as of late has not looked good against she got Marina Rodriguez down once in that fight. She didn't get the submission and she lost. I don't care what anyone says, she lost that fight against Tisha Torres, and the only grappling she had going for her was when Tisha Torres was when she got her back, when Dern got Torres's back in that weird exchange, but Torres was able to fight it off, and then apparently, Dern won that fight, I guess, by split, which there's no way. And then Xiaonan won that fight too. So she's just not able to get the fight to the mat. So with all that being said, and I know this is gonna sound stupid, but I'm gonna go with Mackenzie Dern. She's the more dangerous fighter, and every time that Angela Hill goes to decision, it's always a coin flip because literally you think Angela Hill would win it, and then the judges do not see it otherwise. So, and Mackenzie Dern's been in a lot of these split decisions where she shouldn't be, and I think the judges just favor her for whatever reason, if you know what I'm talking about. So with my pick, not confident whatsoever. It's gonna be Mackenzie Dern. I'm gonna say by submission because it's probably the right way. If she wins, it's gonna be by submission. Not confident whatsoever, so do not hail this if you're not super confident. Bets though, it's gonna be if you're on the Dern side, bet her by submission, and if you're on the Hill side, bet by decision. That is it. Maybe even split decision would be a good bet here, actually. I didn't think about that till now. I like that. Split decision is a good prop. Next one, Daniel Rodriguez versus Ian Machado Garry. Rodriguez, 17 and 3, 36 years old, 6'1", 74-inch reach. Garry is 11 and 0, 25 years old, 6'3", 74-inch reach. So Rodriguez is a very good boxer. He's got good technique, pretty decent kicks. He's got good power. I wouldn't say it's like one touch or one punch knockout power. He can slow down in the 3rd round a little bit if this fight gets there, but he's pretty dangerous early. Pretty decent takedown defense, and, I do think this fight will stay on the feet for sure, and Garry is a very good striker himself. He's very technical, quick hands, good movement around the cage. He can be open to counters, though, if he gets a little too aggressive. We've seen that in his last fight against, Song. He got dropped, but he recovered well, and then he, got stronger as the fight, went on, and that fight was 2 weeks ago? I don't think so. Sorry, guys. It was not 2 weeks ago. It was, like, 2 months ago. Okay, that fight was 2 months ago. I saw that it said 2 weeks, and it still says 2 weeks. No, it was 2 months ago, okay. So, other than that, though, he's got good cardio. And he does seem to get stronger as the fight goes on. He starts a little slow, but not like a Kennedy Njoku slow, but he starts getting his rhythm. But this is going to be a great fight, actually. And I'll be honest, I do think the line is a touch wide because I think there's a little bit of disrespect for Rodriguez. Um, I do think he lost against Li Jingliang, and he did lose against Magny at the very end. So this is a close one, but give me Garry here. I like his striking a little bit more. I do think as the fight goes on, it's only going to favor Garry as well. I think D-Rod is slowing down a bit too. He's getting up there in age 'cause he had a lot of injuries, and, when he came back in that Li Jingliang fight, he didn't look good. This fight against Neil Magny, he looked good at times, but then there was times where he made really questionable decisions, and I think he lost that fight and for by himself in in that fight. He shouldn't have got submitted. He should have just stayed on top of Magny when he was in full guard, and he got back up, and it wasn't a good idea there because he got subbed. I do think Gary's gonna win. I'm gonna say he wins by decision. Gary or Rodriguez is very hard to get out of there, especially striking. Unless maybe Gary has some subs up his back pocket and he can get like a club and sub too. So with my pick, give me Gary by decision. It might look close early on, but I do think Gary pulls away and gets a 29-28 decision. Bets though, you can throw Gary in the parlay. I would watch this line. I do think there's going to be more money coming in on Daniel Rodriguez. Plus 200 is big, a big number, and I know a lot of people are going to play that. Um, the overs. If this fight is set at 1.5 for some reason, I like the over 1.5. The 2.5 is probably where it will be, and that's going to be dicey, and I'll probably stay away. Other than that, that's about what I would do. I mean, Rodriguez at plus 200. If you're fairly confident, it's worth a shot. Co-main event, we got Anthony Smith versus Johnny Walker. Anthony Smith is 36 and 17, 34 years old, 6'4", 76-inch reach. Johnny Walker is 20 and 7, 31 years old, 6'6", with an 82-inch reach. And let's see. Smith is a well-rounded fighter. He's got good striking. He's got a very good jab, good low kicks, good grappling and submissions. His takedown defense isn't all that great. He's durable and he's got solid cardio. In his last fight, he injured his ankle against Magomed, and he looked pretty decent in that fight until it happened. Johnny Walker's been looking pretty good lately. He's a solid striker with good power. He likes to do those spinning elbows and flying knees and all the crazy stuff. He's shown some decent grappling and wrestling in his last fight against Ian Kutalaba, and he was able to knock out Paul Craig when Paul Craig was trying to go for takedowns, and he was able to stuff them. Obviously, everyone's gonna say something about Johnny Walker's chin, but maybe his chin is back, and usually once it's gone, it's gone. But he hasn't really fought anyone other than Kutalaba, who's powerful enough to um knock him out, I guess if you want to say. So I guess it's still on the table if you think his chin is gone or not. This is a very interesting fight, though, and I do think this will be super close. But ever so slightly gonna lean on the Johnny Walker side, and I do think he's a little bit more dangerous. That's why I'm picking him. Anthony Smith might be the more technical striker. He's gonna have obviously the experience. If this fight does get to the mat, I like Anthony Smith is grappling better, obviously, but Walker should be able to hold his own. Maybe Walker mixes in some takedowns and gets some control time, but he's gonna be playing with fire. So give me Walker here, though. I do think he's gonna maybe get a late knockout for some reason. I think it's gonna be like maybe second round knockout, maybe like a spinning elbow where he catches Anthony Smith when he's not thinking about it or something like that. Not very confident in this pick though. I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Smith pulls off the upset here, even though it's a pretty much a pick 'em. And I do think if Anthony Smith does win, I do think it might be by submission if maybe Johnny Walker gets his fight to the mat. But like I said, with my pick, I'm going to go with Walker. I'll say by knockout. The bets, maybe the under 2.5. I don't think this fight's going to go to decision. If this fight is set at 1.5, maybe look at the over 1.5, but like, that's dicier than the 2.5. So maybe the under, or if you like any of these guys, obviously the money line's close. You might as well just play the money line. Main event: Yarzino Rozenstruik versus Jailton Almeida. Rozenstruik is 13-4, 35 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach. And Almeida, 18-2, 31 years old, 6'3", 79-inch reach. So Rozenstruik is a power puncher, power striker. He can be low volume at times. His takedown defense is pretty good, but not a lot of heavyweight to try and take him down other than like Curtis Blades. So that's the sample size that we have here. He likes to wait for his shot, kind of like a Derek Lewis, if you want to say. But in his last fight, though, against Chris Dawkins, he went for it. He showed his aggressiveness and might have caught Dawkins by surprise, and he just, chin. But Chris Dawkins' chin's gone, so he's got the power to do it. He got the one touch knockout power, so that's the one good thing that Rosenstruck does have. Almeida, though, amazing grappler with very, very good submissions, solid wrestling and takedowns, as everybody knows. His striking is all right. He's got decent power in his hands. He's got good kicks up the middle, but he likes to use his striking to set up his takedowns and get this fight to the mat, which is probably a good idea to get this fight to the mat for him. So this is a no shocker here, but I will say Rosenstruck has a puncher's chance again in the first round or second. But I like Almeida here. I do think he'll be able to get Rosenstruck down, whether it's in the middle of the cage or push him up against the cage and then work for a takedown. And once he takes the back, I think it's going to be over from there. Whether it's going to be a ground and pound knockout or whether it's going to be like a rear naked choke or something like that. So with my pick, give me Almeida by finish. I'm going to say early second round. I'll say submission, but it wouldn't be shocked if it was like a ground and pound knockout. Um, I think Almeida is going to be safe for a parlay, even though he's minus 500. Will I put him in there? Maybe. I think he's safe enough. Inside the distance for Almeida, and the unders, obviously under 1.5, it might be juiced, but I think that's going to be a good one. Maybe under 2.5 for a super safe parlay. And look at the over point 0.5 half a round. Look at the over half a round. In Jailton Almeida's last fight against Shamil, I played his over half a round and it was like a minus 250 or like a maybe 280, no more than minus 300. And I was sweating it, but it's a solid bet because this is going to play out kind of slow. Gailton has to figure out, how to get the takedown in the first couple minutes. So, if it's anything around minus 300 or so, I would do the over half a round. So I'm going to look at that especially. So something to think about there. And if you like Rosenstruck, knockout, that's the way he's going to win. This fight's not going to go 5 rounds. Let's put it that way. But all right, guys, those are my picks and predictions for UFC Charlotte. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And if you enjoyed my breakdowns, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like I said, I do this every week. So, also, me and Cody this week, we always do our live shows on Thursdays, but we're going to do it Friday night this week because once again, I have something going on Thursday. It's my fault again. My bad. And but be sure to stop by and hang out with me and Cody. We'll go over our picks, predictions, and bets as well, like we do every week. We usually do it on Thursdays, but this week, Friday. And for Saturday, since this is a very super early start, I'm trying to talk everybody into doing a fight companion because that's when we do our fight companions on these early starts because we do not want to wake up 2 hours even earlier to do a pre-show live stream. So I'm gonna try to see about doing a fight companion with the boys. So look into that. And other than that, that's all I got. Like I said, thank you everybody for watching. And until next time, happy fight night.